Hello guys, so welcome to this live stream. You are on Digital English Teacher page, and I'm the founder of and the author. So I'm really glad to start it. Let me check if there are people who are present. Anyway, you will be able also to watch this recording for the next 24 hours. So don't lose this chance because today we're talking about highly important for every teacher, ESL, EFL teacher, topic, value and how to increase it. While people are catching up, I will introduce myself briefly. So my name is Zariana, and I've been teaching for a while. Actually, that's probably since I remember myself professionally. And for the past 4 years, I've been teaching online. When you mentioned the word at the collocation teach online, probably most people would have an image of a person sitting in front of the computer talking one-to-one to a student, and this is actually not like this anymore, because currently teaching online has become an umbrella term for many ways how you can interact with students. Different formats are available now, and we can talk about synchronous teaching, which happens at the same time when you are in the same informational field with your student, whether you are within one classroom or even in different countries. So there is synchronous teaching and there is asynchronous teaching, which is the opposite, because you teach through pre-recorded videos or maybe some materials that you prepared for students for their self-study. So I teach both. I even teach the mixture of online and online, which is called blended learning. If you happen to know, there is a digital component when students teach on their own with the help of the technology, and there is also an in-person component that presupposes that you have lessons, live lessons. So this is what I have tried, and currently I'm very interested in flipped learning. That is an approach that allows you to put all the boring stuff and the theory to, let's say, to technology. So you somehow you deliver this material to students. Students study on their own. And then your classes, you get really practical. You create some things, you work on projects together, and your lessons become much more effective, hands-on. And this is what I'm currently interested in. But today's session is not about me, and I can see that people are here. Today we are talking about, I would say, oft debated question. The reason why I've chosen this topic was because I've seen a lot of commentaries and posts on the topic of pricing. So what kind of rate you can set for your services, teaching services. And some professionals, some teachers go really low because once they step into this online teaching world, they want to have their share, right? So they want to have their students, so that's why they minimize their rates. And there are teachers who, let's say, they set really high price for their services and lessons, but I don't know where's the truth here, so it's absolutely up to you. What my recommendation, like even to myself, always in terms of choosing the best rate, the best price for my lessons, is that they have to be comfortable for your students. They have to be sufficient. So the price has to be sufficient for you, and of course, the most important thing, it has to be motivating. So if your wages don't motivate you enough, so you probably have to increase it, to increase the rate. But there is another side of this issue. Once you increase your price, there are other things that you have to look at, and these things are about the value that you add to your services. And right now, I have a question to you. Just imagine that you, instead of a teacher, you are a car. So what brand of a car would you be in this case? So what kind of car? Would it be Volkswagen or, I don't know, Maserati? So what car would you be if you were not a teacher but a car? Okay. So I think that you will. Okay. I'm just waiting for your responses. Anyway, if, for example, you've chosen a really luxurious, expensive brand of a car, you understand that once you want to buy it, once you've oh, Chevrolet. Okay, so that's nice. Mhm. So as I was saying, once you've chosen this brand, you probably understand what price it's gonna be and like what comfort it will give you as a driver. And this happens like in teaching world as well. If, for example, you want to be Ferrari, there is no chance that you, for example, have a lot of flaws because Ferrari is perfect. It's like you look at it, everything starting from a steering wheel, bonnet, leather on your seats, everything is just right. Every detail is in its place. And I think that when we speak about teaching, it's basically the same. Everything has to be very professional. Again, once you want to increase your value. So some practical tips that I can share, and these are the things that I stick to myself. First and foremost, we of course need to consider the fact of time management. Very often I see and I can observe the situation when teacher has a lesson, let's say at noon sharp, 12 o'clock sharp, and this teacher comes to his laptop or computer, and at 11 o'clock sharp, at 12 o'clock sharp, he switches on his computer. So of course it will take a while for a computer to to start working, and there's also maybe there's also a need in generating a link to a platform that you're working with. So hopefully at 12:03 or 12:05 you will send this link to your student, and then the student will take some time to again to set everything technically, and it's really like not the case. This is not the thing that you can do, because technology, you have to be ready, you have to be prepared. And I think that the lesson starts at 12 for a student, but for you it has to start 5 to 12. It's just right now I'm talking from my experience, because there were lots of interesting and very stressful situations in my working career, and now I know for sure that I have to be ready in advance. Now the also the time management related thing is rescheduling. I know that many of you are angry, and sometimes like it pisses you off when your students reschedule a lesson and it happens like before, just I don't know, 2 hours before the lesson. But if you set the right price and you feel comfortable, it's fine. I know something is wrong with the connection, but hopefully I'm back. So as I was saying, students doing an uncomfortable seat. This is something that is very. Can you see me now? Okay. So just a second, I'll wave to you guys. Whoop. My room. Okay, I'm back. So it puts a student, when you reschedule, it puts student in uncomfort. So it's better not to, and it's better to minimize these rain checks to zero. The next thing is about also finances. It's about management in general. So it's better when you keep track of all the lessons and you just have one and the same file for both of you that you can like check, keep track of, and like do these things yourself. The next thing, if we speak about lessons, can you hear me? Especially syllabus. It's really important to show your students that you prepare an individualized program, especially for them. You can do it together, or you can, for instance, after the first lesson, after the first introductory lesson, you can then discuss with students what they would like to learn. You, in this case, you will know their objectives, and you will be able like to put some outline of your learning path. And I have already written in one of my posts a nice tool which is called Toolkit for Teachers by Pearson, and you can find really nice names and the list of all these objectives, learning language objectives, to maybe to make your syllabus more professional. And you can work, for example, in Google Sheets, or you can, for example, create special separate document, and again on Google Drive, and share it with your students. So this way you will show your students that it's not only a student, a book, and there's you like a mediator to translate this book to him, and backwards. Now, as for materials, regarding materials, of course you will have to go personalized here, and I'm sure you do. But very often, this is what I used to do, and I'm trying not to. Just to create, the document on the go, because I want to bring, only the things that my students need. And sometimes it looked like there was handwritten part that I took a picture with my phone. There was this snapshot from a display, from a computer window, and then it was supported by some Word format, I don't know, sentences or activities. So it was like terribly heterogeneous, and I know it didn't look pretty, which is why now I'm trying to use more professional tools for this, for organizing especially home tasks or handouts. And for this, there's also one thing that you, now, by the way, the best way maybe to create nice and even like branded materials is to use PowerPoint. It works really nice, not only with presentations, but also with PDFs, because you can save your sort of presentation in PDF format, and it will be very easy. It will be very easy to create one and then share with your students, because everything is usually clickable. It's easy to insert pictures and draw some tables there. If you want to get really professional and neat, you can use Canva. I'm sure those who have an established digital persona somewhere on social media, you've heard about this service, which is, I suppose, amazing, and it's a gold mine for those who want to create something nice, beautiful, in an instance, because and moreover it's free. So I use Canva, and once I want to create a worksheet there, I just, like, in the search bar, I type worksheet, and the website gives me some suggested themes and designs that I can choose, adapt, adjust to my teaching needs, and then even save them, because they are all saved automatically on my profile. So Canva is great, PowerPoint is great, and there's also one thing that I do just to to give the sense of presence and this personal touch. I use Bitmoji. That's a cartoon cartoon self that you can create once you've taken a picture with your cell phone, and you open this application, and this cartoon character just looks like you, with the same hair, almost the same outfit, the same face. And it has a lot of different variations, so you can give your reaction. So those of you who haven't received this Bitmoji from me, well, I can, so just let me know in direct messages. So what I do with these Bitmojis, these are like small pictures. So that's as for materials. Now the next thing that probably we can talk about are home tasks. I've noticed that when you work online, not everything is very user friendly. Especially, like, agree that most of our activities that we give for self-study, for home assignments, are mostly for do these automatic exercises where you need to insert a verb or complete the sentence, or, for example, make a sentence out of some suggested words. And really, it's not easy to do those things in Word, because it takes a lot of time to format the document. So just before giving such exercises to your students, just make sure that there aren't similar exercises online, because now it's really common to find almost like any topic, exercise on any topic checked. So you just give a link, and students insert whatever is needed and required to be inserted into the gap. You save time, your students' time, and like on the other side, there's also you enjoying your free time, some quality time with your family, let's say. So it's really, really useful. So just make sure before giving some home tasks, just make sure that they are not available online. Just not to, do these things twice. Yes, so that's for materials and exercises. Now, there's one more thing that I would say is important, especially when we have online setting, digital setting, synchronous, asynchronous, whatever setting it is. There's always this lack of personal touch. You don't meet your students in person, and there is like the chances that they will be washed away easily are really high. And this is something that unfortunately you cannot stop, because you cannot, simply because of the digital space between you two. And Jack Ma, in this case, we can speak about love quotient. Also, in one of my posts, I mentioned that alongside with IQ, EQ, which is emotional quotient, we have also love quotient. And it is really important for us as teachers to show our care and support, even outside our session, maybe, I don't know, for holidays. You can let them know that you remember, that you know. I don't say that it has to be I don't know, a holiday card that you have already sent to 1,000 of your friends, but it has to be something really personal. Maybe a link to a useful resource, maybe a link to a nice video, anything. That's why we have, a long periods, this long period together. We've spent this period together, not because of that. I think just we're comfortable together, and everything that we do, and I show my care, and my students also like respond similarly. So that's really, really essential once you work online, and that's probably makes a difference. And the last point, besides time management, and maybe some administration, if any, of course, because you can work with groups, so online, so probably you might have more of this administration. Then we've talked about materials, we've talked about syllabus, we've talked about this, love and care and support, instant, preferably, of course. Thing is not very students, a lot of learners, and maybe when you, for example, even work with when you have to work with parents, there are some issues, of course. We're all people, and in this case, when it comes to troubleshooting, I always remember the high customer care, the high level of customer care in US, because I think that they are really supportive in respect to solving the problems and solving issues. The idea is that even if it's not your fault, even if something goes wrong, you understand it's not your fault, you will still have to apologize, not because you did something wrong, but because your client, your student, is not happy. And I think this is important, because even if something goes wrong, that's a small world, and people talk, people tell each other things, and if you want to establish really strong image of yourself as a professional, as a trustworthy and like polite and reliable personality, of course, you will have to solve them and find some mutual solutions. So you will have to admit that, like, sorry, I apologize for this, and then, of course, find a solution. And what is also important to mention, like, just to sum it up, these are the things that I'm sure you will agree with me. They are not that difficult to establish, and that's why even in the name of this live session I've put increase, stressing on ease, because it's not hard. It's probably the thing that you can do, and hopefully this will make you a more highly valuable and professional teacher that can, like, get reward for your work, professional work. So that's basically all. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, because I can see that there are some people in here, so please don't hesitate. Don't hesitate to contact me, even if you are watching this video in recording, even if it's not live. You're always welcome to connect, to get in touch with me, and tell me what you want to hear most about. Maybe I can share some of my experience. So that's all. I'm wishing you a good day. Take care, and bye bye.